Hey, this is Ross and Clint, and welcome to the HeroOLOGY Show.
I know all of y'all at home are wondering, what is the ology show?
What is the HeroOLOGY? So it's the_ology, and ology is a study of anything, and that's one of the things we're most fascinated about up here at the Ready Lab is kind of studying stuff. You know, we have Readyology, we have humorology, which is the study of humor and its impact in performance and life, and then today's is probably one of the most significant ones where we're talking about HeroOLOGY, right?
Right. We're studying, came out of the Carnegie Project, and this one's from the Hero Fund Commission. And this Carnegie Project studies and talks about, brings recognition to people that have done heroic things, just average, everyday Joes, being good people, being Samaritans, but have truly done something extraordinary to where they saved a life or they endangered themselves in order to save someone's life.
Right. You know, Bull Halsey, Admiral Bull Halsey, one of those quotes that you learn at the Naval Academy that I love a lot is, there are no extraordinary men, just extraordinary circumstances that ordinary men are forced to deal with, and we can drop women in there just as easily.
Man, that's such a powerful statement, because that just doesn't only include, people that have served as being heroes. And a lot of times people have a tendency to do that. Yeah. And it's just not the case. It couldn't be further from the truth. But
that was part of the Carnegie inception, is you wanted to study heroism, absent from professions where that's the expectation. So part of the criteria, right? Part of the criteria is you cannot be in a profession where heroism is an expectation, right?
Right. And actually, I was doing some research on this, and it turns out that Andrew Carnegie was actually inspired to do this when a coal mine collapsed in his state, and there was a bunch of brave men that put their lives at risk in order to save others. That inspired him so much that this is what came out of it.
That's cool. That's really neat.
So let's get into it. So,
who are we studying today?
Well, we're studying Andrea Ivie Webb. She's actually from Corsicana, Texas.
Yeah.
And I'm going to read a little brief bio, a little synopsis of what happened. Andrea Ivie Webb rescued Kimberly D. Crow and 17 other students from assault in Ennis, Texas, May 15, 2001. Wow. Kimberly, 16, the other students, and their teacher, Miss Webb, who was 53 at the time, were in a high school classroom when another student, a boy 16, entered the room, produced a loaded revolver, and held them at gunpoint. She stood between her students and the assailant. Miss Webb talked to the assailant, asking him to release the others. He refused and instead told Miss Webb to leave the room. Forfeiting this opportunity to flee, Miss Webb offered herself as a hostage in the student's place. The assailant allowed all of the students except Kimberly to leave the room, and then he and Kimberly talked. Miss Webb shielding Kimberly behind her. Noticed he was becoming more agitated. The assailant approached Miss Webb, aimed the gun at her, then turned and fired into a nearby television. He then put the gun to his head and fired again, inflicting a mortal wound. Miss Webb pushed Kimberly to the floor and shielded her with her body. Police soon arrived and removed Kimberly and Miss Webb from the classroom. Wow.
That's incredible.
That is incredible.
I mean, you think about that. Just the peace of mind, like the confidence. Like, there's questions you got to ask and answer for yourself before you put yourself in that position where you're just deliberately putting yourself between harm's way and those who've been entrusted to you.
There's no workup to it either.
No.
It just immediately happens.
Yeah, that's not continuing education. Yeah. That is something that everybody would like to think that they're going to do.
It went from a 2 to a 10 in terms of
fast.
Intensity, fast, and it's almost like she didn't hesitate.
Yeah.
So that brings me to why? Why would she do that? Whenever he told her to get out of the room, he had the whole class.
She had an out. She had an out.
Yeah. She had an out. She didn't take it.
That's so when we do the HeroOLOGY, we're all going to ask ourselves 3 questions like, hey, why did they do that? And then what did we learn from it? And then what's our other question?
Well, we're going to ask why, what's the reasoning behind this?
Yeah, so I mean, why she did it. I mean, I think it's very clear that she took seriously her role as a steward of the souls that were in her classroom. I mean, I bet if we looked at her history, we would find, moment after moment of her doing more than the minimum as a teacher.
Do you think that, if we could, be a fly on the wall throughout her life and see her, we might be able to observe, hey, if this woman was ever put into a situation, she kind of has that it about her that where she could perform.
Yeah, I bet you'd see this kind of like this heroic tendencies, right? And that's one of the things I think is fascinating about heroism is it's as often all these little things. Like when you look at someone who's just done the right thing over and over again, been a teacher for 37 years, like that's for me. I think heroism is either like prolonged exposure to hard things to benefit someone other than yourself, or hyper intense moments, right?
Sure.
So it's either like Mother Teresa, and this is just your life, or it's this one moment where no one but you can do this thing. And I bet, to your point, if we kind of took a time machine and popped in moments of our life and just observed, we see this person that was more than likely exhibited these heroic tendencies throughout her life, and was very likely surrounded by strong men and women.
Right, that helped shape that personality.
Who made that the expectation, right?
Who really forced that to blossom and come out. And I look back again, I know I've just said this, but like, man, heroism and being heroic is not reserved for people in uniform. No. I swear, in some of the most pivotal times in history, we've relied on civilians. We've relied on teachers. 100%. We've relied on mechanics and random people throughout, just to... We really needed you to step up at that time and save someone's life, or save, in this case, a group of
17 kids total?
17 other students. Yeah.
And I think that's something that's important to us, and I think it's why you being a veteran, myself being a veteran, and you in some really remarkable battles and brutal battles that we were part of, and then myself being a part of the special operations community. One of the reasons we're so excited about doing the HeroOLOGY is to kind of redistribute that focus to the everyday, every man, every woman who is every bit as heroic.
Give them the recognition they deserve.
100%, right? Yeah. And it's neat to see. And I watched Marcus Luttrell do this, man. When Marcus calls someone heroic, coming from him, what it means to them is really powerful.
Right. So we asked why, and and that's to ask the purpose. And I think it's like you said, she was a steward, and she probably took that very seriously. Yeah. What's remarkable about this story? Like, what do you find?
I think what's remarkable about it, it's very binary. I mean, this is going to go one way or the other. Like, there's no gray space.
Yeah.
Got a gun, clearly ready to use it. Corsicana is kind of a rural area. I mean, it's a little bit of country town, right? So it's not like you're dealing with someone who hasn't, just found that gun. I mean, this is a rural environment. So what's remarkable about that is how hyper acute, hyper intense, and hyper real it was. I mean, there is no, hey, I wonder how this is going to shake out. It's like, hey, this is going to shake out this way if I don't do this thing.
She made the hard right when there was an easy out, and that's in a situation where, A, what I like to say, you're playing for keeps when life and death is on the line, and B, like, it's like she recognized that and just immediately chose someone else over herself.
I wonder if we asked her. And I bet if we asked her, I bet it would not have occurred to her to take the out.
And they say, I know in the teams they always say, like that individual, they valued we over me. Yeah. In this situation, she wasn't valuing me.
Yeah, there was no
we. There was no we about it, because in this, she had to have known that her life was going to be in danger. So she strictly valued the group that she might be separated from soonly, or very quickly.
That's really powerful, man. There's no me. There's no we. There's only mine. These are mine, and I got to protect mine.
And that's definitely something that we see on the battlefield when actual people are heroic on the battlefield, is that they actually choose the herd and the herd by itself without them over themselves, and that's just absolutely remarkable. So what did we just learn here?
Yeah, I think for me, as I go through these, one of the things I think what we fill our head with has a lot to do with how we perform. You got to be Super Bowl ready, and you never know when the Super Bowl is going to come, right? And so I think we say this all the time: you don't rise to the occasion, you sink the level of your training. And so for me, one of the reasons I love. You always want to position yourself to be heroic in the moment you need to yourself and to others.
Sure.
And that's why HeroOLOGY is such a fascinating show for us, because we're populating our minds with this how to be a hero, when to be a hero, who else has been it. I mean, you're kind of setting the high tide, right?
Sure.
Setting the watermark.
Sure. Yeah, for me, I mean, it was just the fact that she made all those decisions so quickly.
Fast.
Yeah, that's key. And anyone that's been in a gunfight knows that, strong, swift, and right decision making.
Right.
It has to be timed right. It has to happen on the fly. Is imperative for mission success.
Yeah.
And this woman exhibited every bit of that. So
she's amazing. She's amazing.
Absolutely.
Well, hey, this is Clinton Ross, reminding you to be heroic, be a heroic version of yourself.
Always remember, tune into the ologies. We're going to study a lot of different things, not just heroism. So we'll get back at you soon. Thanks for tuning in. Signing off.